Is that Mermail and Crystrons both leaping into action? Sure, you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now, this is an actually pretty cool regional to be seeing out here on the breakdown. You have Fiendsmith Ryzeal coming in as a 3-of variant, and I'm not really surprised about this. If you've been following the more recent regional data out here, you've noticed that Fiendsmith has been the go-to Ryzeal variant. There's been no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That build is the one that is looking to challenge a lot of the meta, and it's really devastating just to see how crazy that has been. Now, the Miskowiec Ryzeal build has been here at the top tables. We've been seeing success across the board with it. It's not that it's a bad variant, it's just the Fiendsmith variant feels a little bit better, while you've got people out here that are choosing to go with the Miskowiec build just because they want to play with more of the ritual stuff, and you're kind of you're using the secondary engine to cover bases while doing different things. You know, Desiree is going to try to eat up hand traps. Meanwhile, you've got your opponent over here just using the ritual stuff, trying to generate some board wipes. It works both ways. And we also had a Tempai duelist at the top table here, actually playing Fiendsmith Cashier cards, I guess, which is kind of cool. We also did have a Vanquished Soul Duelist. Before somebody asked me, Robbie, where's the list? I know I don't have the list. All right, I'm just going to throw that out there. You can hope it comes out in the open at some point, but there is no list currently public as of putting this video together. But what we do have is we have some Mermail action actually out of this top cut, which I am very curious about that. But we also had a Crystron deck, which I think was one of the ones I was most curious about, wanting to see how players are going to try to make that deck actually work in the TCG, and somebody looks like they have managed to find a success with that. So Vanquished, Crystron, and Mermail, those a lot of rogue challengers stepping up to a regional that you normally wouldn't be seeing. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. All right, so starting off our deck list dive here, we are digging in to your Ryzeal experience, and I gotta tell you, you're gonna have a lot of these lists floating around, especially with the upcoming YCS this weekend. I think Fiendsmith Ryzeal is going to be the big go-to out here, just because this deck has so many strong answers. Now, obviously, this build was playing 41 cards, a little bit different than what we've been seeing out here, but that's fine. All right, we're not going to take anything away from that. Though, it is interesting that one cross, 2 thrusts down on the side with the 1 tack talents. You are also side decking the cross-out detonators down here, so you can bring them on in and punish your opponent on those big swing throughs. And of course, we are citing the Cowboy for a time. It's really unfortunate you don't actually have really the room to fit in the Cowboy down here, because looking at the way that this extra deck is constructed here, you know, you honestly playing the Typhoon I think is very important right now. There's just so many bad situations that your opponent can set you up into that you would just want to have access to this for the Bounceroo. Also, we are side decking the Perulias with more and more of the Ryzeal variants kind of creeping around out here. You've just got to think about how much swing you want to be getting on that advantage. You know, being able to get, what is it, 1, 2, potentially 3, 4 draws off of a Perulia, or at least ensuring that you won't have to see those cards. Yeah, we take those. They are big. Next up is Mermail action for you here. Now, the first thing I see with this list is we're playing the Butterfly Fish. What is this? If this is sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect and add this card to your hand, and if a monster is sent to your graveyard except by battle, while this card is in your graveyard, and discard 1 card to special summon this card. You can only use each Butterfly effect, or Butterfly Fish effect once per turn, only once that turn. You can special summon the extra deck except water monsters the turn that you activate either of these effects. So you've got a rotating fish monster out here to kind of assist us with what we're doing. I also see we're also doing Materia Actor stuff in here. Critical, okay. Well, I mean, what was spell trap and detach materials from a Materia Actor exceed that we control? So, oh yeah, we can actually make X-Guard because this is a water monster. Oh, that's really freaking cool. This proves that there are so many kind of cool actions that you can do with this deck. Now, you're also going to see we are side decking the Shifter down here for the crossouts. There's just a situation that, you know, if Shifter shift to resolves, you're gonna lose the game. And this is not exactly something that you really want to be dealing with. Also, some white howling action in here. That's actually really fancy. So in terms of the little tech choices and things that you're getting out of this, I think butterfly fish might be one of the coolest things I've seen out of these lists. Also, maximizing on the Abyss Hen, and we are actually playing just one minstrel to get that hand knowledge. Okay. Ooh, we have our Crystron special here for you. Now, from what I can tell you about Crystron decks, we've been trying to see what the right variant is. We've seen Adventure, we've seen Pure. It just depends on what you are feeling out here to be deemed the appropriate build. Now, in terms of budget for this deck, I mean, one Citri with one copy of the Quanzing Drex down here, those are going to be your two most expensive cards as of filming this. So, little bit ridiculous, but okay. I also see that they did choose to go with the Horus package in here instead of the Takam Tumborgs and the Cherubini stuff. We were seeing a lot of that idea, which I don't think was bad. You know, getting the Cherubini to get the drop was really good, but the whole focus of this is just to get the zombie vampire, start your engine through that way, and that actually, you know, works out. I don't have an issue with dedicating slots to that. We're going with the triple of inclusion in here. I think most of these ratios look just fine. You know, you're also only going with the one copy of the King's Sarcophagus in here, and of course we're also packing in a Forbidden Droplet as well. So interesting choice to go with the 2-1 here, but there's just going to be some situations where you want to be able to bring this in and get to the board breaking tools that your deck, you know, wants to have. So you got a lot of good actions going with you for this list. I think Crystrons are going to be a very good challenger going forward. Next up here, we have more of your Ryzeal Fiendsmith decks. Now, this build went a little bit heavier on things. 46 cards is not a bad thing whatsoever, but you've got to remember, you know, if you're dumping in all that extra cards, there's got to be a purpose for that. This build is actually playing the Metaltronius in here. Now, we've seen Metaltronius showing up at a couple of the regional level events right now, because being able to specifically out a problem card that your opponent has established on the board is a very useful tool, especially for when you're playing against, you know, Ryzeal stuff, and, you know, Dead Namer over here is going to be an inconvenience, or, you know, any of the other extra deck outs. This specifically allows you to take care of those, which is kind of nice. Once again, you do see that these builds are being forced to have to side the Cowboy. Once again, there's no major space for them. This build actually chose to go with the Meowls instead of the Perulia, which is kind of interesting because there was like no malice present whatsoever. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, but okay, I guess Malicious was not up to the occasion for this weekend. And of course, I see that we have some Ultimate Slayer action in here as well. I mean, it's this, or you're going with Thrust to be able to toggle into other power cards. But either way, I think that this worked out just fine for your coverage for what you were looking for. So actually good stuff. And our last list we have for this event, more Fiendsmith Ryzeal. Man, I'm telling you, how much of this can you jam pack on into one day? Now, this build went with 41. So we had a 43, you had a 46, and now you got a 41 card build. So, you know, you got shifts around in the uses of hand traps. I see this one did choose to play Valor, which, okay. I'm a big fan of Valor right now. I think that Valor on a choke point, especially against the Duo Drive, is actually kind of nutty. It puts your opponent into such a bad position that they, yeah, but if they've already got the cross, well, shit. You've also got two copies of the Tack Talents in here as the kind of cleanup tool. Being able to actually have this is really good. Also, some of the builds are just not even choosing to play this. You know, this build's not even playing Thrust. Typically, you see this powered up with Thrust. It's kind of an extra card to kind of help you along the way, which is pretty solid. I also see, yep, there's the Ultimate Slayers. Yep, there's the Crossouts. If you've noticed, Crossouts been pretty much pushed down into the side. It kind of feels like a little bit more of a win more card in some situations, but, you know, cutting your opponent off of one of their cards that they're trying to stop you with, I think is very important. And you also do see, we do have the Solemn Judgments down here as well. So I personally think that this deck is doing its best out here to find the best options available for for it. And, you know, it's definitely got the most tech space out of any list. And I think that that's a good thing. So, or it's being teched out the most, which is kind of cool. So please, if you comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.